This brief encounter at lunch prior to their much-anticipated one-on-one had media scrambling to interpret any underlying sentiments. Both men have been at polar ends of many foreign policy decisions, leading to growing tensions. Yet they presented an amicable front to the cameras, expressing their delight in the much-anticipated meeting, the first between the two leaders.
We look forward to a lot of very positive things happening for Russia, for the United States, and for everybody concerned. And it's an honor to be with you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm delighted to be able to meet you, Mr. President, and I hope our meeting will yield positive results.
U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson called the meeting constructive, with lingering disagreements addressed, including concerns over alleged Russian meddling in the 2016 U.S. presidential elections. Both parties also confirmed their support for a denuclearized Korean peninsula and support for the de-escalation of tensions in Syria. U.S. and Russian officials agreed to endorse a ceasefire in the war-torn country, a substantial development between the two leaders who have been supporting opposing sides in the 6-year-long conflict.
A ceasefire has been entered into, and I think this is our first indication of the U.S. and Russia being able to work together in Syria, and as a result of that, we had a very lengthy discussion regarding other areas in Syria that we can continue to work together on to de-escalate the areas and the violence once we defeat ISIS.
According to one analyst, this was a win-win for both sides.
I think Putin comes away from it having very clearly demonstrated that he broke the U.S.-imposed isolation policy. I would call that a big political win for Putin. For Trump, I don't think he broke out of the constraints he's on with respect to Russia policy here in Washington. On the other hand, this, as some commentators have said, may have been his most substantive, significant international meeting yet, right? On balance, I think both leaders come away with some benefit from this meeting.
Only a day before the meeting, Trump ruffled some feathers by calling on Russia to stop its destabilizing activities and end its support for Syria and Iran. Meanwhile, Putin slammed U.S. sanctions and trade protectionism.
The meeting between the two world powers was only intended to last 30 minutes, but went on for more than 2 hours. One side note, not lost on many here, was the fact that this bilateral meeting was scheduled at the same time the group was to discuss climate change, an issue expected to be quite controversial due to President Trump's withdrawal from the Paris Accord. The G20 continues on Saturday with U.S. President Donald Trump meeting with the Chinese President Xi Jinping. Natalie Carney for CGTN in Hamburg, Germany.